How's it going, everyone? This is the Worcester Stunfisk. This is week 9 of the VBA. We are up against the Central MA Clovers. We are looking at trying to get 2 more victories to hopefully make the top 8. That being said, looking at Clover's team, we do know he likes to run Parastrap, but I am a little worried that he will be going more on the offensive side. That being said, I think I have prepped the team well. We're going to go with the Drizzle King strategy, which is Weakness Policy King and Drizzile. Drizzile is pretty tanky. And then we're going to kind of try and adapt beyond that. I'm hoping to kind of do a little fake out, and I'll explain that once the match gets started. But please don't forget to, do the normal of unsubscribe, downvote this video, and turn off notifications. With that, we're going to hopefully use the power of God and anime on our side.
You're going to love this. Trust me, what you're seeing now is my normal state. This is a Super Saiyan. And this is what is known as a Super Saiyan that has ascended past a Super Saiyan. Or you could just call this a Super Saiyan 2.
Wilhelm, what a useless transformation. You've changed your hair, so what?
Just wait. And this is to go even further beyond.
My name is Jamie, and I am a Super Saiyan.
Alright, so this is like take 5, I think, but we're going to go ahead with it. Hopefully I figured out how not to make my video recorder lag every time I try and talk about the battle. So getting into it, hopefully with no delays this time, because this is getting a little annoying. We are going to go ahead with that Slow King Drizzile lead. As I said earlier, the Drizzile was something that I was a little concerned with bringing. I didn't see anything that he really had for water types and he'd prepare for water types with. So I kind of felt like it was a little bit on the safe side to do it. And you're going to find out how useful this Drizzile is going to end up being in this match. So we're going to go ahead, select our team. You're going to see that I have Zerk with a surprise life orb. AV Buzzwole, which I was debating on putting the AV on Stunfisk or the Buzzwole because Stunfisk can eat everything. Oh, and right now I just want to say that you're going to see I select everyone on my team, but then I pull what's called a Pro Dick move. And I'm going to wait it out and see if I can fake out a timeout. That being said, yeah, so we have the Figgy Berry set on the Stunfisk and the Power Herb on Cordelia. I did see the Power Herb used with Meteor Beam on a Ganondale, which gave me the idea, so I'm stealing someone else's idea. With that, we do see that Clover is bringing the Sandaconda, Gothitelle, Latias, Tapu Koko, Gengar, and Primarina. The first thing I do want to say is I'm really happy he's not bringing the Glaceon that he has, because that was probably the thing that threw a wrench in most of my plans, because that thing was going to hit hard for a lot of my mons. That being said, I did have some answers for it, and not seeing it does kind of make me happy. We do see that he has Coco, which I'm a little surprised with, because it does speed tie with Crobat, and I don't think you'd want to try and speed tie someone that might set a Tailwind unless he has it scarfed, which he could. But all in all, I'm not too threatened by the Coco, and I'm happy to see Glaceon's not there. I expected the Sandaconda and the Gothitelle. So really hoping that the Pro Dick move pays off here. So we are going to go ahead and he thinks that I have Credilli and Stunfisk in the back, and I'm going to ally switch Zerk and Buzzwole in, because I know he likes to run ally switch a lot, so I need a little bit of game mind play as well here. So that being said, we do see he leads with the Sandaconda and the Gothitelle, and I am going to go ahead with the Drizzle King. We are hoping he's going to proc my weakness policy, so I'm going to set up the Reflect here, which should help Slowking live anything he wants to throw. And we're going to max Ice into the Sandaconda, and I am hoping he is going to fake out the Slowking as well and try and pick up that KO and prevent a Trick Room. My team is relatively slow, if you noticed earlier, so I don't actually have Trick Room, so it leads itself to think that I have Trick Room, which is really risky. This whole thing was really risky. So we do see he goes ahead and Dynamaxes the big Corkscrew Pokemon, Sandaconda, and he is going to go ahead and fake out the Slowking as soon as I am done Dynamaxing. And if you notice, Slowking's in a love ball, because Slowking's got nothing but love to give. Oh, that's cringy. I got nothing to say during these animations sometimes. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate doing this sometimes. It's so weird. Anyway, again, fakes out into the Slowking, and we are going to set up that Reflect. Surprisingly, he is going to use the Sandaconda to go into the Drizzile, maybe playing it safe just in case I had weakness policy. It wouldn't be beyond me to put weakness policy on the Slowking, and I think he might have saw through that there. Or maybe he thought I had Ally Switch. We are going to see, even without the policy proc, it does a lot of damage. And if it was AV'd, or if it was max special defense, I would not have done that much damage. So right there, and he wouldn't have done that much damage to the Drizzile. So we know right there that Sandaconda has like no bulk invest and probably has some more in the speed and HP, along with full offensive physical attacks. So going into this turn, after everyone receives a little bit of chip damage, we are going to end up going for the Light Screen. Figure that's going to probably be useful in the long run, just in case Drizzile does die here, because as much as I'm thinking I should probably proc that weakness policy, I'm not too concerned. I'm figuring at this point maybe I can hide it. And I go for that Max Ice into the Gothitelle, which I should have gone for Max Grass, which would have been the safer, but I was thinking Latias or Coco might swap in, or he might Ally Switch. Max Grass would have still covered for the Ally Switch, but would have covered for Primarina to swap in. Hindsight, like I said last time, is 20/20, not 50/50. But we do see that he is going to switch in that Primarina. We are not going to do that much damage to Primarina with that Max Ice after he does proc our weakness policy, but we are going to get that Light Screen up, and, everything's going to live at least to see the next turn, as he does go for that Max Sandblast into the Slowking, which does a pretty hefty amount, considering we're at 194 now. But I should live another Max Ground in the next turn. Ideally, I should. And I could probably get a Max Grass off. Maybe. Not sure. Light Screen. I don't know how much Light Screen is going to prevent from the Primarina. It hits hard. Primarina hits really hard. He does have some really hard-hitting special attackers. So that being said, we do see that the Prim has some chip on it. The Sandaconda is looking pretty unhealthy, but same with both my Pokemon. We are going to go for the Soak into the Slowking here to hopefully reduce that damage from the Max Ground, because it won't be super effective against me. And I'm going to Max Grass into the Primarina, get rid of it, because I know I'm going to be faster than the Sandaconda in the late game. What we are going to see, though, coming up after we get the Soak off, which Slowking should live this badly, and I would have died anyway to Hyper Voice, but boy, that doesn't look like the right damage, because it was a freaking crit. This game hates me, man. So RNG is really against us here, and he's got 4 Pokemon, I've got 2. Luckily, his Dynamax is over. The Slowking didn't work out as well as I planned, because I did overpredict the Ally Switch or the swap into a different Pokemon when I should have went for the Max Grass. that being said, we do have at least Buzzwole and Zerk in the back, and both of these mons are a lot faster than like the majority of his team. So I was able to invest a bit more in survivability. Let's just put it that way. So right here we are going to go for the Thunder Punch into the Primarina, and we are going to go for that Energy Ball into Sandaconda. Hopefully he is not max speed Sandaconda with like a timid or jolly nature. I forget what one doesn't lower special attack. And outspeed the Xurkitree, because that would also be really bad. And it would put me in a bad situation. It'd give me a lot of information, to be honest, and I could definitely adjust to it. But we're going to end up seeing here, he does go for the switch out for the Primarina into the Gothitelle. It does take him a little bit to decide on this. I know, making switches is kind of risky, especially with these two mons on the team, because they both hit really hard, so you might lose something in the meantime, and then I'm just getting boosted. But yeah, so I go for that Energy Ball into the Sandaconda to make sure I get that KO and hit whatever he might want to come in. And Buzzwole's not going to really do too much with that Thunder Punch, which is unfortunate because I end up revealing the Thunder Punch. But, I was attacking what was in front of me, and I felt like that was the safest thing to do. And it makes sense, because if I went for the Leech Life, I wouldn't have done like any damage to the Primarina, and if he attacked, I'd be taking a lot of chunk, and I was figuring I was going to be faster. So I felt like in the speed advantage there, it was just safer for me to go for those types of attacks, not knowing whether or not he was going to be faster with the Sandaconda. But we see here he brings in the Tapu Koko, and he is going to go, he sets up the Electric Surge, which I actually kind of like for myself, truth be told, because Zerk already has +1 special attack, and then increasing the thunder damage that both Buzzwole and Zerk is going to do is going to be A-okay on my book. And he's not going to even take advantage of that electric terrain, just because like Zerk resists it, and Buzzwole's not, it's just neutral to it. And Buzzwole would eat that up, I think, a lot better than the Dazzling Gleam he's going to throw, because that's going to be stab. But we see that the Fake Out goes into both. The Light Screen is really paying off here with really reducing a lot of that damage. Zerk gets the flinch, of course, and we get that high horsepower off onto the Tapu Koko. So now we're looking pretty good here. We do know that we are faster than both of these Pokemon on the field. And Buzzwole is able to like absolutely demolish Gothitelle with the Leech Life and heal myself back up, so I can take a Moonblast from the Primarina. Luckily, that Primarina is not Life Orbed, as we did see with the Hyper Voice, and Zerk's going to be faster regardless. So here we go for the Leech Life again into the Gothitelle, and we're going to just go for a Thunderbolt right into the Primarina. Thought about Protect for a second just to see if there was a speed thing, but then I thought it wasn't really worth it because I do have that speed advantage and Light Screen still up. So we do see the Protect on the Primarina, which is good information for later games that we do know it is not AV'd as well. Because I do know people like to AV the Primarina because it does have really high special defense. And we do see that Buzzwole is going to get its HP back, and right now this game 1 is looking pretty cinched up. Not sure if the Pro Dick move paid off in reality, but we do have, this is kind of scary combo to look at on the field. Even if you do have something to hit that Buzzwole super effective, it can sometimes, if built right, tank some of that stuff and get its health back and just put a lot of pressure on, which is kind of what I needed against Clover's team. And I was surprised not to see a Perish Trap come out in this first game. But like I said earlier, it kind of makes sense too, because I do have a lot of offensive pressure, so trying to last through a lot of that, seeing as Zerk can hit the Preem hard, the Latias hard, and the... Actually, it can hit everything pretty hard. Oh, God. Yeah, it makes sense that he wouldn't have the Perish Trap, in a sense. I'm thinking he still has the Perish Trap, but it makes sense why he wouldn't try and pull it off. So we get that game 1 win, and we are going to go into game 2, pick that same team. And this time we are going to lead Buzzwole Drizzile. And the reasoning behind that is if he did go with that Sandaconda after seeing the Slowking lead, Buzzwole resists a lot of Sandaconda's super effective hits. I was kind of thinking about the Credilli Drizzile lead, but in the end, I felt like Credilli's going to be better in the back. I don't get to switch out a lot because he does have that shadow tag. But, and I don't actually have a lot to deal with shadow tag other than just hitting things hard. But we are going to go with Drizzile Buzzwole. The soak on the Drizzile can also help protect Buzzwole from like a Brave Bird or any other flying attacks he might have. I don't think he has too many flying attacks, but it'll at least protect him from the fairy attacks or psychic attacks if I really want. But we do put Credilli in the back, and we do put the Xurkitree in the back as well. So that being said, you know, he's making his decision, and we are going to get into this next match where we do find that Clover is going to end up leading that same Gothitelle Sandaconda lead, but he is going to end up switching some of the Pokemon that he has in the backup. And the one that he switches in instead caught me off guard a little bit, but I felt like I handled it well. I feel like I handle it well. I don't know. I don't want to spoil things. So that being said, you know, we're going to start game one. I thought about Dynamaxing, but I thought, you know, I could live a lot of this stuff without Dynamaxing, and I can get the Reflect up because I know I'm faster unless he fake outs into the Drizzile. So we're going to go for that Leech Life into the Gothitelle. I did think about Drain Punch over the Brick Break, but just in case he brought screens himself, I felt like it was just going to be better usage. And he is going to end up faking out the Buzzwole, which, you know, hindsight is a little risky because I might have Dynamaxed that, and that would have been a free KO on the Gothitelle. But at the same time, I mean, it pays off, kind of. Like, this first turn, really, I just get the Reflect off, so I feel like this is better in my advantage because he does end up going for the Iron Head into Drizzile, which you see does, like, just a little bit over 10 damage. What's that, like 14? So this turn, we are going to go for the Light Screen and the Leech Life into the Gothitelle. I'm going to try and switch out just to double check that it is competitive, because that's also a possibility with Gothitelle, and honestly is probably one of the scariest things is like a Dynamax competitive Gothitelle, not knowing that and attacking into it, or not into it, but a partner Pokemon and boosting its special attack. So I'm actually really happy it's Shadow Tag in a sense, especially since right now he doesn't have anything for the Buzzwole, really. So we set up the Light Screen. He's going to end up Psychicking the Buzzwole, and I actually high horsepowered the Gothitelle, predicting possibly the Tapu Koko coming in. I felt like it was the safer move. So he goes for a Psychic. It doesn't do too much. The AV and Light Screen are really paying off here. And here I contemplate, because I didn't plan on Dynamaxing Buzzwole at all, but I didn't really want to lose Buzzwole early, and I did think with the AV, Latias isn't going to be able to do too much damage. And what I can do as well behind the Light Screen is set up or lower the special attack of the Latias. So we're going to go for that Dynamax, and instead of attacking into the Latias, you know, this is a minor, like, I'm expecting the Ally Switch possibility or the attack or possibly a Helping Hand. But just to cover for the Ally Switch, I go into the Gothitelle and I soak the Latias. Soaking the Latias will also take away its stab from the Psychic, which he would use to hit the Buzzwole, which is the whole reasoning behind that. Granted, I know I'm not going to get it off before the Latias because I am going to be slower, because Latias is like 110, I think, in speed. I think it ties with Gengar. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, so we go ahead, Dynamax the Buzzwole. We have the AV. So I'm thinking I can take whatever this Latias wants to throw at me. I mean, Latias does have a high special attack, and it does hit really hard. I actually don't know what item is on that Latias. I don't know the item on the Gothitelle. I actually don't know any of the items, now that I really think about it, other than Life Orb on the whatchamacallit. But we see Buzzwole floats here when he gets hit with that Max Psychic with the Helping Hand. And he's going to set up that Psychic Terrain. And we are going to Max Bug into the Gothitelle, which is going to KO it and at least keep Buzzwole a bit safer for going into the next match, our next turn. Because we are going to get that special attack drop, and he's not going to be able to Helping Hand if he only has Helping Hand on the Gothitelle. But I mean, all in all, this is it feels precarious. You know, one of the issues with Drizzile is, and one of the reasons that I was kind of afraid of using him and using 2 screens, which I'm glad I did bring 2 screens instead of Muddy Water, because I almost didn't bring Light Screen. Is he's going to kind of just leave it there on the field. But you see we do get that special attack drop. He is going to end up switching in the Sandaconda here, which, you know, I think Coco, because he does have the Coco in the back, would have been better, because he could have gotten at least rid of the Drizzile, or, you know, doubled up into the Buzz. Because we're going to see here, because Latias is water type now, I can Max Thunder into it. And I'm going to soak the Sandaconda. I'm just making everything water out here. I'm not going to KO the Latias, even with the Beast Boost. But I am going to chunk it pretty hard. And he's not going to KO, like he's gonna do, what's that, like less than half of the damage in HP with the Max Psychic, and then Sandaconda just turns into water type, which I don't even remember what Sandaconda ends. I think he attacks into the Drizzile, and Buzzwole does over half. He chunks that hard. He chunks it really hard. But we set up the Electric Terrain, which is now going to get rid of any boost for the Psychic. Rock Slides, that's what it is. And that only did 5 damage to Buzzwole, so you can see how tanky that Reflect is making Buzzwole, along with just Buzzwole's defense in general. And Drizzile took nothing as well. So now we have 2 things that are water on the field. I don't even really know why I did that. I kind of just hit it. So we're going to go for the Sucker Punch on the Latias, which is going to end up revealing the item on the Latias. And this could have been really bad. I don't know why I decided to attack into Sandaconda. I think because I figured I could pick up the attack. It's not like he could ally switch. But we're going to see here. He's going to end up switching the Sandaconda out after being made into a water type. And he's going to switch the Coco in. So with that, we do activate hit the Sucker Punch, and we activate his berry, what berry is this? I didn't actually catch in the match. I Papa berry. A Papa. He does Max Ice into the Buzzwole, which I thought was a little strange. Buzzwole resist Ice. It's fighting type, so that does like next to nothing. But we are going to Max Lightning into the Tapu Koko, which honestly, like, I could have gotten the KO with like Max Ground, but I'm not too upset with that because it puts a lot of chunk damage, and with the Max Ice or the Hail chunking Tapu Koko every turn, we now see the Reflect is off. Koko isn't going to be able to stay around for very long with Life Orb. And right now he has 2 mons that are really damaged, and he has the Sandaconda in the back, which is going to be a lot slower than the Zerk. And the Credilli can kind of handle that. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to go for the Reflect setup. And we are going to try and get an attack off of Buzzwole. It's not going to happen. We know Tapu Koko is faster. And he's probably just going to do an attack into either Buzzwole or into a spread move. But in the off chance he tries to protect with the Latias and not attack with the Koko, or try and take out the Drizzile, then that would have given me an advantage there, I think. I don't remember what I just did. Kind of just talking. But we're going to see that Psychic does absolutely nothing to Drizzile. We're going to set up that Reflect. Drizzile has really been like the star player this entire time. He is... I've actually kind of wanted him to get KO'd, but it ends up being beneficial because I'm able to get my screens back up going into the end game. And right here, he is... I'm bringing out the Credilli. We are going to go for that Meteor Beam into the Latias. I thought this was kind of risky for him to do after I set up the light screen here. He is going to end up switching out the Latias into the Sandaconda. And Credilli is grass, so... Latias was water at this point. It wasn't Psychic. So I would have been super effective into either one of those slots. And to me, that was a really risky play. But we see he goes for the Protect on the Tapu Koko. I set up the light screen, which he probably should have just went for the attack. So this is kind of giving me a free turn to set Credilli up because I'm going to get that special attack boost with the Meteor Beam Power Herb combo. And still get an attack off all in the same turn. So he might have thought that was going to be the safer play too, expecting the Meteor Beam. But I don't think he was expecting the Power Herb there at least. So we get the Meteor Beam off, and we are going to actually chunk that Sandaconda decently, considering that he resists it. And there is literally no special attack invested in this Credilli. It's not even modest nature. It's 0 special attack invest. So this thing is... It put some work in. It was mainly meant for the Glaceon, but to give it a chance to live a max Glaceon. So here we're going to go for that Sucker Punch. He is going to switch out the Tapu Koko. At this point, Drizzile is actually kind of forcing him to swap and not attack, fearing the Sucker Punch, even though this is a 0 attack IV Drizzile with no attack investment, because I didn't want to hurt Slowking too much. I wish I actually had more IVs in it. But he does get the flinch here, which, like I said before, this game hates me. There's always some type of RNG that's just trying to work its way against me. But this is, I'm going to say this match is probably the breakthrough of the RNG, where even though RNG tried to get me down, put me down, man, I still got through it. I still got it. Spoilers. Should have put that before. So right here, we are going to go for the Sucker Punch on the Latias. Again, why not? I mean, we know he just swapped into it. He'll probably Protect. He ends up not. He goes for what turns out to be an Icy Wind, which I thought was very interesting tech because I hadn't seen him use that before, looking through past stuff. And it doesn't do too much damage, but does make Drizzile slower than the Sandaconda going into the next turn, which ends up allowing him to outspeed, which, you know, at the same time I'm using Sucker Punch, so I'm not too worried. But yeah, we get the Energy Ball off, KO the Sandaconda, because that's +1 special attack. Luckily, he didn't get the flinch. I think that's what he was aiming for at that point. Credilli wasn't going to outspeed Sandaconda regardless. It is really slow. It's slower than all base 45 speed, and Sandaconda, I think, is base 70 speed. And then we have the Tapu Koko coming in last. At this point, I don't even need to attack the Tapu Koko. I could, but I decide not to in this case. I'm just going to go for the Recover. And then I'm just going to let Drizzile like try and get the KO on Latias, but it's just going to end up going down regardless, because at this point I want to try and get the at least one more KO on Zerk, because, well, you know, your boy Zerk needs another kill. So I mean, at this point, you know, the match is, it could still go very poorly, but it's, I don't want to say it's locked up. Like, definitely things can happen. Like a crit could happen, flinches. I don't think Koko has anything to flinch with. And Koko is dying this turn anyway. Essentially, like if he had Draco Meteor, yeah, at this point, actually no. Now that I got the Recover up, this match was pretty much locked down. Essentially, it was just getting the Zerk's final kill in here, and just recovering kind of made sure that this match wasn't gonna go poorly. turns south, like it essentially guarantees me the match because there's no way he's going to get through that recover. And I'm going to just make sure Credilli's full health. Just even though I know Credilli can outspeed, I just want to make sure I get the KO on Zerk. I don't know my reasoning for it. It was just I was clicking it because at this point I did think Dazzling Gleam was going to kill the Latias, which it should at that HP. And that right there is going to lock up game 2. So that puts me at 2-0. Currently looking at these standings, we are still not in the top 8. I need to somehow pull off a win next week against Senpai. Good games, Clover. Very well played. I was very scared about your team going into it, and I definitely felt like I was over-predicting some ally switches there. And you never used it once, so that fear of the ally switch was definitely there. Thank you, everyone.